Hey, how's it going, guys? Mr. Boss for the win here, and in today's Grand Theft Auto 5 video, I'm going to be talking to you guys about some secrets, hidden details, and things you need to look out for before you end up purchasing the Sabre Turbo Custom on Tuesday. So I'm sure a lot of you guys are wondering right now, Mr. Boss for the win, how do you already have the Sabre Turbo Custom? Well, I was able to get some help from my good friend Foxy Snaps, and through some PC magic, it's actually possible to get this vehicle online, and that's exactly what I was able to do right now. And I figured, since I'm in the position to have it before most everyone else, that I can tell you guys some of the tips and tricks, hints, and things I noticed of playing with it for almost like 2.5 hours yesterday. If you guys watched my stream, you know we had a lot of fun. We customized it, did a bunch of car shows. It was a blast. And like I said, today I'm going to tell you guys the things I noticed and I saw and getting you prepared for this update. Also, on my Twitter right now, I'm doing a shark card giveaway. I'm doing a great white, which I think is 1.25 million, which will essentially get you a fully customized Sabre Turbo. So if you want to enter that, go down in the description and check that out. But anyways, let's talk about it, and let's start with the price. That is a great segue. One thing you should note about the Sabre Turbo Custom is, out of the 3 lowriders we've seen so far, it is the most expensive by a long shot, by a ton of money. It is the most expensive to upgrade. I'm not sure why. So when you buy it off of Benny's site, it's actually not that expensive. It's only $15,000, which is relatively cheap. It's also the first time that that vehicle has ever been on a website. So that's interesting. Now, if you just want a regular Sabre Turbo, you can buy one from Benny's site. You don't have to customize it. But when you go to upgrade it, his upgrade fee is one of the most expensive we've ever seen. In fact, my upgrade fee was $490,000. So it's an extremely expensive upgrade fee as compared to what we saw with the Tornado Custom and the Minivan Custom. It's essentially $500,000. So your total, if you buy it off the site and then go to upgrade it, is going to be $505,000. And you haven't done any customization. So if you were to enter, like I said, that shark card giveaway, you'd essentially have $750,000 to do whatever you wanted to do else on customization. So yeah, upgrading this car can get pretty expensive, and that's the first thing you need to know come Tuesday, is that it isn't going to be as cheap as the Minivan or the Tornado Custom. So just be on the lookout for that, and you might want to do a few extra races this weekend just in case you're light on chips in order to get prepped for this. Okay, the second thing you guys need to be aware about is when upgrading the Sabre Turbo Custom, when you go from the regular Sabre Turbo to the Custom Edition, you're going to lose some default features, and I'll tell you guys about those right now. So the first of which is kind of the two-tone design. First of which that can be seen on like the lower third body portion of the vehicle. So you can see I've got this blue vehicle right here, and there's this lighter blue two-tone stripe, and it's got the word Sabre Turbo written on the side. So you actually lose that, which I think is kind of a bummer, when you go into Benny's Original Motorworks and you upgrade it. That feature is taken away, as well as kind of the two-tone paint job that runs across the top of the car, on the back trunk, and on the hood. You also lose that option when you go into Benny's and you fully upgrade it. And another thing you actually lose access to is the wheelie bar. So the wheelie bar is available on the regular version of the Sabre Turbo, but it's not available on the final version of the Sabre Turbo, which is pretty interesting. I thought that would have been a cool feature to have even after it was upgraded in Benny's, but for whatever reason, those options are taken away. So as you can see right here, we now have a Sabre Turbo Custom, and you can see when I'm going through and flipping through all the paint jobs, there is no like two-tone design. The only thing your secondary color is going to impact is the interior and a few other things like the bumper and the spoiler, and also I think some pieces underneath the car. And you can clearly see that the wheelie bar is gone as well. The only upgrade options I have are wheels and windows. So again, that is a very minor detail in my opinion, but I think that was one of the cool things about the stock version of the Sabre Turbo is its classic two-tone paint job, as well as the nice engraving of Sabre Turbo written on the side. I thought that was a really cool feature of that car, and it is going to disappear when you go and upgrade it into Benny's shop. Another thing you guys want to be aware about is when upgrading the Sabre Turbo Custom, before you actually hit upgrade, you're given the option to adjust the suspension. Now, this option is only available before you turn it into a custom. You can clearly see here that I'm lowering the vehicle just a few times just to see you guys what it actually looks like. And I wanted to do another test to see if it actually had any impact on the car itself after you ended up customizing it. Because there have been vehicles that were affected by the suspension. One of those was the Slam van, where it was clearly lowered and we did end up seeing a difference. However, like the Tornado and like the minivan, it seems as if there isn't an issue with this car because I lowered the suspension on this vehicle, and we're in my garage right now, and you can clearly see the blue one is the one we lowered with the suspension, and the other purple one does not have any lowered suspension, and they almost sit the exact same. I couldn't tell a difference. I might have just been seeing things. Maybe it was the color of the wheel that was throwing things off, but honestly, I didn't see a difference between the two. So that might be an option that you're tempted to do in the Los Santos Custom Shop or in Benny's before you actually upgrade, but I don't actually think it has any impact on the vehicle. At least it doesn't visually. I did not test this on a track. I didn't really see the need or the worth to do that, but at least visually, it does not have any impact, and you won't notice that the car sits any lower or any higher based on the suspension you do or don't do before turning it into a lowrider custom. So I thought that was interesting. It can save you some money as well because lowering the suspension, I think it was like $4 or $5 grand, and this car is already expensive as it is with all the upgrades you're going to have to do. So anyways, like I said, thought you guys might want to be aware of that. Suspension does not have any visual impact. All right, up next, another thing you might want to know before buying is that there's a lot of similar customization whether you upgrade the car into a lowrider custom or not. Now, I know that Benny's shop is, for the most part, supposed to be cosmetic and appearance upgrades. However, you'll notice that the Sabre Turbo really doesn't get any unique customization options to the car itself. I think there was one change that was made to like the roll cage. So instead of getting like the roll cage that takes away the passenger side seat, it's like a stunt cage or something along the lines of that. But really, there isn't a lot of unique customization that you get in Benny's that you wouldn't be able to get in like the Los Santos Custom Shop. The only thing that Benny's is going to do is do the traditional Benny's style customization, like liveries, the really crazy wheels, obviously the hydraulics, everything you can do in the ICE system and the trunk. So don't get me wrong, there is a lot of customization, obviously, that you get when you upgrade this car. But just keep in mind that a lot of the customization is very similar to the Sabre Turbo that we're accustomed to and has been in the game ever since 2013. So if you are going into Benny's expecting this to have some like crazy options on the roof or some crazy hood options or different bumpers or different exhaust, note that is not the case, and you won't be getting really anything different except for the visual modifications that Benny's ultimately allows you to do. And once again, that's not necessarily a bad thing, but I know that there's been some vehicles in the past, let's just say the Slam van, for example, that had a ton of different customization options that weren't previously available in the Los Santos Custom Shop that was available in Benny's, other than just like liveries and, you know, the trunk stuff. So just keep that in mind, that a lot of the customization is going to be the same. That isn't necessarily a bad thing, but it is something you need to be aware of. All right, and for the final segment of this video, I want to talk about a few kind of hidden details you might not have known about, as well as like one or two things that slightly bother me. Now, once again, I will say that this car is really amazing. In fact, I think it's the best out of the lowriders we've gotten of the like tunable updated ones. I'll have a separate video for that because I think it's worthwhile to talk about, but this does not take away from the Sabre Turbo really in any way. It'd be like getting a 95 on a test versus like a 93 or a 94. Like, it's really not that much of a difference. But one of the things that bothers me happens to do with the exhaust. So there are some awesome exhaust options. One of them is the side exit exhaust. It looks really cool. However, if you choose the side exit exhaust versus one of the other ones like stock, chrome tip, or big bore, in the rear bumper, there's these cutouts for where the exhaust should be, which kind of bothers me because there's obviously no exhaust there. What's the point of having those cutouts in the bumper? Now, I understand it might have been difficult for Rockstar to make a totally different bumper just for one exhaust, but in reality, if you were getting a custom side exhaust, you wouldn't have a need for the exhaust kind of outlines to be in the back of the bumper, especially when the side exit exhaust already moves all the piping for the exhaust to the front of the vehicle like it should be. So I'm not exactly sure why this bothers me so much, but it does. Just having those cutouts there for me are slightly annoying when I'm using the side exit exhaust, because all I can look at in the car when I'm driving in third person is those cutouts in the back bumper. So that slightly bothers me. And the other thing that I kind of noticed with this is when you're using some bumper options, the intercooler of the grille will be more exposed than I think it should be. Now, this is the exact same way, whether it's the customized version or not. So when you're using the stock front bumper, that intercooler is kind of exposed, which does slightly bother me. And because the bumper options are tricky, trying to match up chrome and secondary colors, if you guys saw my live stream, you know it is kind of difficult to get the right combination down. However, that issue can easily be solved by any one of the customization options. Even adding the custom chin spoiler will totally cover it up. And then, of course, all the other ones like extended, painted, and painted large splitter will also cover it up, no problem. So that one bothers me less than the exhaust because it can obviously be covered up by any one of the modifications that you can choose for the bumpers. Now, one cool hidden detail that I noticed, and obviously you'll probably notice too, is when you change your livery, the gas tank automatically gets that livery as well. There's no option to upgrade your gas tank in Benny's shop, so it automatically gets this update. It's kind of like a little free bonus. So you can see I'm going through all the liveries right here, and you can see the effects that it ultimately has on the gas tank itself. Some of them are a little bit more noticeable than others. Obviously, when you get to the pinstripe ones and the ones that are just stripes, it might be a little bit difficult to show up and see, but definitely like the bottom 3 or 4 really do make a giant impact on the vehicle itself, and they really do look awesome. So be on the lookout for that. And also, we talked about this in the minivan in Tornado video, but underneath the hood as well. When you're selecting a livery, you need to look for more than just what's on the outside, because there's some inside details that might ultimately impact your choice. So you can see we're going through some of the liveries right here, and this is kind of what they look like underneath the hood. They add some pretty cool designs. Some of them are different. Some of them are kind of an extension of what you see on the outside, but it's really cool, and they'll impact more than just those side paneling pieces. They'll also impact the engine block too. So be sure to change that out and obviously see how it ultimately looks on the vehicle itself. But anyways, that's all the information that I'm going to be going over with you guys in this video today regarding the Sabre Turbo Custom. Hopefully this video was helpful. Hopefully it gave you some insight on what to expect come Tuesday, things you need to look out for, things you need to be aware for, and things you need to be excited about. Overall, I really love the car. You guys are really going to love it too. If you did go on to enjoy the video, a like rating would of course be awesome. And also subscribe to my YouTube channel if you are new, or you like daily GTA 5 videos like this. With out of the way, guys, like I said, thanks for watching. Take care, and I'll see you guys in the next video.